Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Soul Rising podcast, all in on love, loss, and connection.
What's up, everybody? It's good to see you again, or, be with you. Cause but yeah, good to see you again.
Yes, we're so glad you guys are here. This is season 2, episode 6. We're so happy that you chose to come back and watch us again, or if you just found us, hello, welcome. We're so glad that you are joining our little posse. We rise together. Our
Yes.
souls are rising like the sun. And we are so excited to show you we are your hope dealers.
Your hope dealers. Yup.
Straight from Castle Rock, Colorado. We are
That's
bringing
right.
the hope.
You need any kind of dealer, it should be a hope dealer.
It's for these days. Yep.
Yeah, seriously. We Amanda knows I love this term. I didn't coin it by any stretch. I've seen it all over the place, and it's something that just to me is, I don't know, it's super cool because it's the one thing there can't be enough of right now. And if any of us have the capability of dealing a little bit of hope, that's what we're trying to do. So we
Yeah.
got you. We got you. We got you. We're your hope dealers.
Totally. If you guys don't know our story, we have a whole season 1, so we touch on this a little bit. Ginny and I are both silver.
Yes.
So we have the hope to give you. And we have a lot of other sort of life experience, some unfortunate, around grief and all
Right.
that kind of stuff and trauma and healing. And so we are hoping to be able to shed some hope to you. So if you keep coming back, we will keep dealing the hope. So
That's right. That's right. Yes, you can definitely go back, and if you feel like binge listening, there's plenty to listen to. You can
Totally.
find us on Spotify, on Apple, and now on YouTube. Pretty much any of the podcasting platforms, but the most recent one is YouTube, which is really cool because you can go in there and binge it all. And anytime there's video, you can check us out. And there's also joint interviews that Amanda has done with a few other people. I've been on a couple of those too. So you get a full mix of really great information and lots of hope from all different
Yeah.
aspects.
And if you like things, please, if you like the show, share it, press like, leave a comment. This is how the algorithm gets trained to shoot out our message of healing and hope and rising and all that to more and more people. So if you guys could do us
Exactly.
a solid and give us a little thumbs up. We have a few different formats going lately. So last season was just all audio, and now this season we've gone video. And Ginny and I were attempting to do it in my parlor with a camera,
And it
and
was really cool when it
was.
worked.
The first one we did was awesome, and then the last one we
Yes.
tried. We tried to record an episode a few weeks ago, like
Yeah.
50 times.
It had
Like,
to be. We fully recorded the full thing 2 times, so all the way through.
Yep.
And then we had another day in between that where we
Another
had
day.
tried at least probably 10 times, I would say.
Yeah, like 2 hours, and then finally I was like, I gotta take my kids to the dentist. Like, I don't got time for this.
We got things we gotta do.
But it was nuts because everything was going wrong. Like, we got
Everything.
one phone, like, then the memory card, and then the camera was in charge, and then we finally were just like, forget it. And so this is a much more rock solid, I would say, way of recording, and it's a lot more
Yes.
convenient for
It is.
everyone.
Because as some of you may or may not have known, I've had to jump back into work, which is, a different thing for me. I had been in a bit of a sabbatical there, but I'm super grateful for the opportunity to be where I'm at. And, this is life. This is what happens. We talk about this a lot, that things change, seasons change. And there's a lot of times where we have to, we either go with the flow or we fight the flow. I get real jacked up when I fight the flow. I try. Don't get me wrong. I try real hard. But yeah, I'm like getting beat in the face. And I'm like, oh, hey, I should go with the flow. So it makes it much, much easier now to be able to just connect and both of us still be able to do life and do all the things. So you'll be able to see me here with Amanda at least once a month. She's going to be doing tons of other interviews with other guests. I may not be there. I might. We're just going with the flow on things. So
Yeah.
we are super happy anytime that we get the chance to interact with you guys. And that's why we're so glad to have you here with us today.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Ginny's like the ultimate pivoter.
Oh,
You're
man.
like,
Step all change. Step all change. Step all change. It's all change. Step all change. Yeah, that's me. And sometimes I fall. Sometimes I'm very clumsy at trying to do that, but I get up. I get up. So
always do. We
That's
always get
yes.
stuff. So
That's
let's go into today. So today, Ginny threw out the topic, and this is an awesome, awesome topic. It's called we're calling the show Demystifying Meditation.
yes.
So we're going to be diving into all things meditation, what
Mhm.
it is, the barriers to it, the things that we feel hold us back from doing it,
Exactly.
common misconceptions about it, which
There's a
look,
lot too. There's a lot.
there's a lot. There's a lot of it. You know what I she said ancient practices meet modern mystery, and I love that. I love that. She wrote like the outline before, and it's so cool because this stuff has been around for so long. We talk about this in a lot of other episodes, how we have all the answers at our fingertips
Yeah,
to to make the world a better place by healing ourselves. Um,
absolutely.
and meditation is just one really accessible. It's
Mhm.
free. It's
Mhm.
free. You could do it anywhere at any time, right?
Mhm.
Like one of these things people feel like, well, I can't, I don't have time, right? I don't have enough time to do it. You
Yep.
know, we make time for the things that we want to do. You know, somebody said to me once, people do what they want.
It's true.
And right? Like you make
100%
time.
true.
Like I want to watch that show on Netflix. I'm watching that show on Netflix. Like
It,
whether it's 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or 2 in the morning, whatever, I'm making time because I want to do it.
that's
Right?
exactly right. It's funny too listening to somebody. There's a lot of people who talk about and reference meditation, and I think it's Joe Dispenza that says something like, "If I'm busy, because that's the whole thing. If I'm busy, then I'm going to double the time that I'm meditating because of the fact that what you gain from it and being able to face and deal with your day to day life, the
Yeah.
stresses, just all the
Yeah.
things that occur, to be able to just kind of slow your neurological system down, to be able to quiet our minds, we're able to come from a much better spot of creativity, of decision making, of having healthy conversations, all those things when we're able to come from a place that's a little more anchored. So
Yes.
yeah, even it doesn't matter how busy you are because most of the time they talk about 20 minutes, and even though we're both moms
That. I mean,
working
even 10 minutes can
even
five.
10.
And I'm
Yeah.
going to talk about something called contemplative. I can never say that word. Contemplative
Yes.
meditation. And there are different ideas on it. My idea is about like that you can be mindful in a
Mhm.
state of not necessarily like meditation where everything is quiet and still. And we're going to kind of dispel
Right.
that myth. You don't have to be like that. You could
Mm-mm.
be in a state, it's just tapped in. It's just about being tuned in. And you can
Mhm.
do that while being busy. You can do
Yes.
that on the checkout line at Target. Well, you could do that walking to the supermarket. You could do that at work. You could do that in the middle of a work meeting. You
Mhm.
can just be there and not know kind of which direction to go in. And it's just a matter of tapping in, tuning in, taking a second to connect with your higher consciousness and
Right.
saying, guide me, lead me, right? Whatever mantra you want to use, which is really helpful to kind of pick a mantra and just use it and get
Mhm.
that ingrained in your head so it comes to you easily when you need it.
Mhm.
And then feel what comes to you and then do that. Like,
Yeah, it's really simple. I've heard people also talk about because basically, the definition of meditation is a process of taking our attention away from the world outside and focusing it within ourselves.
okay.
Ancient practice with many other names such as concentration, sitting in silence, or contemplation, right?
Mhm.
So it's the idea that you're removing yourself from the outside. So I've heard someone even talk about if you can find a sound. I think Abraham Hicks, I've heard talk about this even, that if you can find the air conditioner, the monotonous thing
Yes.
that you
Uh-huh.
can focus, or the cars driving by
Mhm.
outside, or whatever it might be, that
Yeah.
if you can focus on that long enough to get all the other thoughts to just kind of quiet down, that it doesn't even always necessarily a mantra's massive. But if you're someone who you feel like, well, I don't know what I can say at this time, you
Yeah.
can find something, you can find a sound, something to focus on that's basically going to just shut out the exterior part that's stimulating you and
Yes.
take you more inward.
Yes. So you're quieting your thoughts by focusing on something else. Because when I'm thinking about the birds chirping, or I'm thinking about maybe sound of running water, or
Mhm.
sometimes you've seen those things with the stones and the waterfall. Like a lot of people like this
Yes.
water, something like that, that I'm thinking about that. So it's not like we're not thinking about anything. I think that's really a common misconception is that
For
we
sure.
yeah, we have
100%.
to have this silent brain and have no thoughts. That's never worked for me.
It's
So
never going
instead
to happen.
No,
Right?
so we
It's not
have all
even
these
humanly
thoughts.
possible unless you've been meditating. I mean, obviously, I'm sure Buddhist monks can do it.
There are people that can do it and it happens over time. I've been trying it recently because I've been meditating for a long time. So I am trying to do that. But without a doubt, something comes in and it might not even be
Grocery list.
like, yeah, obviously grocery list, isn't that, it might be that, but sometimes it's more just like me controlling
Yeah.
my own consciousness, like me thinking about something like this certain relationship or what I said yesterday to somebody that may have hurt them or, right, just kind of going through. So I'm in an emotional state.
Right.
I'm tapped in and connected to myself, but I'm
Mhm.
still controlling the energy. I think that's what it comes down to, not trying to control the
Absolutely.
energy. So,
Yeah.
like, when thought comes, what I will do sometimes is I'll picture it just like a river. Like, there's like a river,
Mhm.
and just I see the thought, and then I just kind of let it go.
Yeah.
And then I have a diffuser in my meditation cave. Oh, let's talk
Oh,
about the meditation cave for a second.
yes.
So, if you've listened to any of our episodes, especially in the beginning,
Mhm.
the whole first season we recorded in the meditation cave.
It was awesome. We're
So
gonna have
I
to
was
get back to it at some point.
Yes, we
For sure.
will. We will. Maybe we could throw a camera in there or just do an audio in there. But it's such a sacred space to me. So I was going through like I'm back in like a psychic intuitive program now.
That's
So
so
that should be
awesome.
interesting to see how that progresses. But took a couple of classes with this woman a few years ago, and she said you should have a dedicated space in your house if you can
Mhm.
have one. Um, and like you make it your own, and that's your space. And the reason why it's a dedicated space is because you want to clear the energy in your space before you meditate. That's sort of part of the process. And I'm going to go through like my whole process in a
Mhm.
minute, what I do. But I have this space. It's like, I don't even know if it's even 8 by 8. I say 8 by 8. It's probably even smaller.
It's
It's probably
smaller. It's
small.
definitely smaller. Yeah.
And I have like these shelves. Really, it's just a closet. It's just a big closet, and I
Mhm.
have candles,
Many
and I have all
layers.
my stones and my gems and my signs.
Right.
I just oracle cards. Like I just have so much stuff in there,
Yep.
um, and my it's just I don't I go in there and I do clear the energy and stuff, but it for the most part, once I walk in, I can feel something automatically because I've been kind of training that space to
Right. Well, it's almost like a
have.
neutralizer. It's almost like neutralized all the time. You're able to clear it out and it's a blank page for you all the time. It's like a safe new canvas every time you walk in there. I always felt that way too. Anytime I've ever walked in that room.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
very
and I have clear
so
quartz. I have clear quartz in the corners, and
that's
that's what
probably part of it.
it sucks negative energy,
Yeah.
clear quartz. So
Mhm.
whatever I'm carrying in there, because more often than not, probably 8 or 9 out of 10 times I walk in there and I'm not well. And I am much different when I walk out,
Isn't that
because I have
amazing?
crazy,
Well,
yeah,
that's
I get these crazy dreams and I wake up in a funk.
yeah. No, I know exactly how that is. And honestly, that's one of the things. I mean, there's studies, you guys, that we have proof, and this isn't just like, oh, like airy fairy, like out of nowhere. There are plenty of studies done
Yes.
by um, well-known universities, by medical facilities. One of the things that we know for sure meditation does is it relieves stress. We know this like 100%. It definitely can help to relieve stress. And that's exactly what you're talking about, Amanda. I
Yes.
mean, you're a
Yes.
perfect live example of it. You know that you
Uh-huh.
could walk in there in such a what feels like chaotic, and
Mhm.
be able to walk out based on whatever practice you're doing different
Yeah.
than when you walked in.
100%. It has a physical, mental, emotional, benefits. The physical benefits are it reduces inflammation, which, if you guys don't know, inflammation is at the heart of all disease.
Yep.
It's kind of why I'm vegan, because my family has autoimmune disease. A lot of the women have autoimmune disease, and I'm really trying to ward that off. I also do it because I'm a runner and I have bursitis, and it keeps my inflammation down, so I could keep running.
Mhm.
And running is another type of meditation I wanted to talk about, the moving meditation.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I feel like I need that. Like I need to run. So for me to continue running, I have to do certain things, and one of them is my diet. But it also that in conjunction with the meditation is crazy. Doing some research for this show, I didn't know it reduced inflammation. I didn't know
Big
it could
time.
lower. I guess I assumed it could lower blood pressure just by the nature of being relaxed. But I mean, there
Lower
are
blood pressure.
tons and tons of studies. Ginny, tell us about the study with the inner city kids.
Oh, man. So, one of the forms of meditation that I have been super fortunate to learn, and it was not free to learn it, like at the time that I did it. And it was pretty soon after I had gotten sober, but I learned how to do transcendental meditation, TM. You'll hear people talk about it, and lots and lots and lots of people have done this form of meditation. Um, and it's kind of along the similar lines what you were talking about, Amanda, where it's a one-on-one. You learn from one other person who has learned it from a person. It is always a one-on-one deal. And what ends up happening is the person who's teaching you comes up with the mantra. It's like I don't even know what language it's from. I don't know if it's Sanskrit. I'm not even sure what it is, but it's not English. So you get a word that's specific to you. You never tell anybody who that word is. It's just you and the person teaching you. That is your mantra. That's yours specifically to you. And they use their intuitive as, they're focusing and tapping in to ask for whatever that word is for you. So what it is and it's not religious. The one thing that people tend to go back to TM for is when they think that meditation, lots of other forms of meditation have not worked for them. TM seems to be incredibly effective for a lot of people. So people like Kobe Bryant, people like Jerry Seinfeld, the list is
Clint Eastwood, Sheryl Crow, all these
yes.
awesome people. Why do you think they're so awesome?
I know,
Because
right? And it helps just immensely. But one of the coolest things, if you ever look up the David Lynch Foundation, he started an organization to basically start being able to sponsor, almost be able to put the money forward to teach kids, inner city kids, on how to do TM. And the main reason being is because some of these kids who live in, urban areas where they're, Chicago, let's take areas in Chicago, they have been living in a state of fight or flight almost their whole life, whether that be due to gunshots, whether that be due to violence, whether that be whatever the situation might be.
whatever's going on in their homes, they're experiencing a lot of trauma in their homes. We're experiencing a lot of trauma. Well, a lot of children, no matter where you live, are experiencing a lot of trauma in their homes.
Yes.
So
Like across the board. And even in just the world, you think of, to think of even, my kid, one of my children, Sandy, had gone to school with a little girl who had a lot of post-traumatic stress because she went to the STEM school when the shooting happened there. Right. And this is a little girl we know. So things like fire drills, things like that would set her off. Right. So you have these kids who've grown up. Well, first off, it's all they know. That speed and that survival is all they know. So they had a lot of they've had a lot of trouble in some of these school districts with violence, with grades, with attendance, with kids just inability to have a way to control their emotions, to process, to focus, because they're again, you're in survival mode all the time. So they started, David Lynch started this foundation where there's money that's donated there that's put towards teaching these kids how to do this at no cost. And they started implementing it into the curriculum. So at school, they were able to have their 20 minutes where they
no brainer. That should be across the board. It should be part of every single curriculum.
100%. 100%. Because the other thing we know for sure, coming from an ADHD family, my daughter is diagnosed ADHD. I'm now through her journey, I'm like 100% sure I've just gone undiagnosed my whole life too, with learning everything from her side. Just in that in itself, anybody who has anything like that going on, there's a lot of kids with ADHD or who are neurodiverse or just overstimulated in the world we live in. So having that, they were giving these kids 20 minutes as part of the school day to be able to go in, and you can do it anywhere. It's not like they were seated in their desk, because again, just keep going back to whatever that mantra is for you. And they had significant change in the numbers from cases where they were having to deal with violent situations at school, disciplinary actions, test scores went up.
Yeah, because there's no room for thinking and learning.
No.
When you're in that fight or flight, when you're in that survival, when you're watching your back, when every noise you hear is distracting you, because when you have PTSD, noises, noises make you hypervigilant. Yeah, so when you're just trying to survive, there's no room. So what was it? I think violence went down 50%.
It was something insane. Yeah, the amount of what they had to do in terms of like intervening for violent situations went down like 50, it was like 50, 51%, which is just unbelievable. The test scores, though, that was like amazing
Yes.
to hear that
Attendance,
too.
the attendance and their GPAs. That's
Everything, everything went up. And this is not just like, oh, maybe this will work. You guys, there's white papers on all of this. There's studies.
yes.
There are
Yes.
studies.
They're proving things. So we need a lot of science to prove things to us. We don't
Ab-
just believe in most people don't just believe in the energy, right? Like just that,
Right.
like trusting that, like this energy, that there's something to this. So scientists are working to prove this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They're working to prove it. I mean, like we know. So what happens with the meditation and the reason why it is so good for us and you have all those health benefits is because what happens with your it's breathing.
Right.
It's all your breathing. It's all your breathing. So you're breathing, right? Like if you have anxiety, they tell you all the time, breathe, breathe, right? So, but one specific type of breathing. Oh, and by the way, I'll put that link in the description for you guys
Yes.
so
Yes.
that you
It's amazing to
can.
watch.
Well, one type of breathing I learned about is well, just regular, but there's no real name for it. But it's about basically stimulating the vagus nerve. So, what
Mm,
the vagus nerve is the main nerve system in the parasympathetic nervous system, part of the anatomic nervous system, which is your sympathetic and your parasympathetic. Your sympathetic is that fight or flight, that protection that
yeah.
we need. The
Ooh.
parasympathetic is the calm one. So it balances us.
Mhm.
And the world we're living in now, you know, you don't even need to be in meditation to breathe like this to calm you down. I do it all day long.
Yeah.
I do it all day long. If I'm feeling a little like amped up or something,
Mhm.
I will just take a very big belly breath. Like they talk all the time about, if you know anything about meditation or breathing, shallow breath versus from your diaphragm.
Right.
When you're breathing shallow-ish, it's kind of just speeding things up. You're not getting any sense of relief or calm. The vagus nerve is it's attached to your abdomen and it
It's
goes
an
all the way.
actual nerve. Like it is an actual nerve that runs through the whole body.
Yes, it's from your
Oh.
gut. And the reason why this is so important is because we know that all health stems from the gut, right?
Oh,
Most people
yeah.
at that point. We know that the microbiota in your gut, if
Mhm.
it's not healthy, that's when we suffer in many ways,
Mhm.
emotionally as well, not just physically. It's all connected. It is all
So
connected,
crazy.
right? So, right? So the vagus nerve is from your abdomen and it goes all the way up to your brain. So when you take this big breath, when you stick your belly out, do it now, ready? Stick it out. And it kind of feels like the antithesis of what we're supposed to be doing. Because typically
Yeah.
you breathe in and you suck in, right?
Right.
We've been doing it all wrong.
It's the
I,
same thing for singing, oddly enough, that you're saying this. You
what?
know that as they train singers and yeah, taking in breath from your diaphragm to be able to like project. Very similar. Go yeah.
Yeah, when you're taking breath from your diaphragm, you're naturally it's gonna go out. So when you're going shallow breath, you're going in. So that's how you know that you're taking this deep breath from your diaphragm,
Mhm.
belly's going out. I can actually feel it now. I'm hoping that it's my vagus nerve and it's not some kind of like clogged artery or something in my heart, but I could feel.
You're like,
I
it's a vagus nerve or I have a complete blockage. I don't know.
exactly. I'm either great or
One of those
I'm dying.
things. But whatever, we're good.
We're gonna go with the vagus nerve.
We're gonna go 100% vagus nerve, not triple bypass, quadruple bypass.
You never know, right? Like I eat healthy. I
You
run.
don't ever know.
You hear this stuff all the time. So healthy, 40 years old, has a heart attack, and not. It's crazy. So we do what we can.
Yes.
Um, so when my belly goes out, I take that breath. I feel something kind of stimulated. I do at this point. I feel something kind of coming up here. And what it does is it activates the parasympathetic nervous system.
Mhm.
Acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter that is that kind of runs the parasympathetic nervous system.
Mhm.
That attaches to the post ganglionic neurons or something. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I don't know it so well. But what I can tell you is that the neurons then attach to the muscarinic, it's called, the
Mhm.
muscle receptors, basically, of your organs, your tissues, and your cells. And when that acetylcholine hits the muscarinic receptors, that's when the calm comes.
It's like your brain, your body your brain's telling your body we're safe, right? I
Exa-
mean, ultimately, it's like,
yes. And it's actually like it's attaching to these receptors are connected to certain parts of your brain and different parts of your body, in your
mhm,
face, in your gut, all these things that just kind of relax when that neurotransmitter hits that receptor.
mhm,
That's what it is. So that gets you in this calm state. You feel safe. I'm glad you brought up that word. And then you can connect more easily to
mhm.
this great unknown thing. That's
Yeah.
another thing. I mean, I could tell you from experience, I was sober 9 years. Meditation is our 11th step in the program.
Mhm.
And I was told to meditate for 9 years. And I would try it. I would try it. I may have shared this before on the show, but I would try it. And like it's just the same thing. Like I would think of anything else to do instead. And it was only until I was really brought to my knees when it was like, all right, I'm desperate. I'm desperate to try
Right.
something. And I started this like continual practice of doing this. And eventually it just stuck. But I had to get into like a lot of pain before I
Mhm.
was willing to do it. And the reason why I was resisting is because I was afraid of what I was going to feel,
Oh,
of
yeah.
what I was going to find out, or what I was going to be charged with doing. Right.
Mhm.
Like for me, once I know something, I can't, all of us, we can't not know it, but I usually
Right.
act on it. I usually have to take some kind of action. Maybe that's my anxiety disorder pushing me. I
Mhm.
don't know what it is. It works for me at times. Sometimes it
Right.
backfires. But I realized that in that process that I was running. I was still running at 9 years sober. I was still running from myself
Isn't
and
that
running
crazy?
from my power. Yeah.
I think
It,
people forget or not even I don't mean to say forget. Some of you out there that may not even know. If you're either trying to get sober or you're working towards that, like just understand like even the rest of us that are still working at it every day,
yep.
we still hit those batshit crazy moments.
Yep.
We just
Yep.
instead of numbing it out, um, gaining those tools to try to exactly what Amanda's talking about of being able to sit in it and get through it. And I imagine it's probably similar for somebody with like PTSD, right? Where it's having to get to the point of not having the armor on or not having the diffused sense and the fear that comes along with that. Like, we use all kinds of tools to try to help us with that. But there are so many times where exactly like with what you're talking about, Amanda, for myself, I've realized like I've been almost like disassociated. There are times I'm like Houdini. I know how to like not be in my body, even without
Oh my
any kind of
gosh.
alcohol or
Yes. We're
drugs. I know how
transcendental.
to, yeah, like how to not be here. And it's a lot of it, I'm sure, is again, response to trauma or response to whatever those things are.
Yeah.
Meditation. And I'm sorry, I stepped in on that, Amanda, but please
Oh,
finish
please.
like talking
No.
about that, using
Yeah.
that to be able to be safe.
Yeah. So you have this feeling of like, I'm okay. Like, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm safe in my
Mhm.
body. There are a
Yeah.
whole bunch of people out there that specialize in somatic work. And somatic just means the body.
Mhm.
So when you are in this state, I also do something called yoga nidra often, where
Mhm.
it's relaxing every part of my body, my chin,
Mhm.
neck. I try to feel everything, my shoulders, my arms, my legs, my knees, my feet, everything. I just try to relax
Mhm.
everything in this calm state where I now trust and feel safe to connect to this thing greater than me, that whatever shows up, whatever I hear, whatever I learn about myself, I'm supposed to. I have to. I can't run
Yeah.
from it anymore, right? And I need to just listen. And usually we're not asked anything too hard of ourselves.
Right.
Typically, if I'm really kind of jammed up and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't like that. That's scary. Then I journal. Then I write about it. And I usually get to the heart of, or I stay in that meditation and I ask more questions. What do you
Which
want me to
can
do?
be a form of meditation too. Right? Like a
Totally.
writing,
Totally.
journaling? Yeah.
Totally. Because you are connecting to something greater. So what happens to me is I will start writing and
Mhm.
I'll like, oh, this person, blah, blah, blah. I can't believe this. I can't believe or I'm mad at myself. Or
Mhm.
usually it's anger or fear is what
Sure.
like
Almost always.
yeah, precipitates that like need to like pull out that journal and get it down. And then something kind of happens like midway. It must just be God showing up, you know? I become more open. I become more willing to see my part. I become more just emotionally available.
Mhm.
And then for God to show me what I need to see. And at the end of it, I usually have some kind of like reconciliation or just some kind of understanding of like where this is coming from, why I'm
Yeah.
feeling this way, and if I need to do something about it or not.
And what it is even, right? Because if we're looking at it from a state, again, it's like when we're in fight or flight, everything's a lion. Everything's a lion coming to eat your ass. So if there's
Yeah.
times, and that's our reaction and it's how we see it, it's how we feel it. So
Yeah. And brain cannot shut that off. Like once that's there, you can't just think yourself out of that.
mm-mm,
It's something
no,
going on so deep inside, especially if you have trauma. If you have trauma, it just reignites that, and
quickly.
every time you go back into that, it strengthens it. It strengthens those neural pathways
Yep.
that make you feel that way. So meditation is just a way to sort of rewire those neural pathways so
Mm-hmm.
that when something does appear, whether it's a lion or whether it's burning dinner, right?
Right.
We decipher the difference between like when we're in true danger and when we're in
Mhm.
like a perceived danger.
Yeah,
It's sort of a one, right?
exactly.
So this is a tool that you can use that will help you to not go to that I'm getting eaten by a lion and kind of
Right.
keep it in perspective, And then you can tune in right in that minute when you're burning dinner, you're like, oh, shit,
Like it's
all right,
okay.
breathe. Take that big belly breath.
Yeah.
Ignite that vagus nerve. Get calm. Pull out the freaking pot holders. Take the dinner out, methodically instead of being like crazed.
Oh my God, you just brought something up that's hilarious. But just yesterday, so Tom loves to cook, like that's his love language, that's his aspect of all things.
Uh-huh.
And for the first time ever in the whole time I've been married to him almost 15 years, we had people over to eat ribs yesterday, and he burned 4 racks of ribs.
I can't believe I just used that example.
That's why I'm
Well, I
bringing
guess
it up.
I,
And he
I,
lost his ever loving mind. He lost
uh,
his shit. He was like, well, and because for him, first off, wasting food for him too, just that's his mom is no longer with us, and that's his tie to his mom, like food, right? They own a restaurant. So it's
uh,
like, and
yeah.
he was so bothered, and wasting food for him is also another big thing. But he was so mad at himself. He literally had to leave the house. He told Steele, he's like, throw him away, throw him away. Like he wanted him just tossed in the trash.
Sure.
Like it was an emotional thing.
Yeah.
Exactly what you're
Yeah.
talking about. And I was like, okay. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, calm down. Like it's fine. But for him, those ties to that
Yeah.
they run deeper than that. And his
Yep.
form, yeah. And had he had him, maybe if he was someone who meditated, which I think he tries a little bit, but don't think he's ever focused. But he had to literally leave the situation, walk out of the
Well,
house. That's a perfect example.
yeah.
That it was like, and because for him, it was tied to something emotional. It might be something, we all have that shit. We all have those things that for someone else, it's not that big of a deal. But for us, maybe it is because it's tied to who knows what, you know?
Exactly. It's not about the ribs, right?
No.
It's about what you're talking about. So, like, that's why they call it a practice, a
Mm-hmm.
meditation practice.
Mm-hmm.
Want to get good at this stuff and be able to tap in when we're in traffic or somebody cuts us
Mm-hmm.
off and we want to kind of be brought back to our center, which to
Mm-hmm.
me is connected to a higher power. We have to practice doing it. Like I use this example in my book. Like if you want to be a good soccer player, what are you going to do? You're going to get on the field and play soccer. If you want to be
Exactly.
a good dancer, what are you going to do? You're going to get in the studio and you're going to dance. So you can't
Mm-hmm.
expect to be great at this. It took me months of sitting in the dark with
Mm-hmm.
like nothing happening. Like just, okay, I'm willing, I'm here. I'd feel something. And then
Sure.
I talked about this experience in my book and on another podcast, so you guys can go find it. But I did have this like this experience where I
Mhm.
felt this God or spirit, Holy Spirit, whatever the heck you want to call it, kind of come out of the darkness and shine its amber, beautiful light into my
Wow.
heart. And it was like from that day on, I was just so convinced that there's something real out there, and it went from somewhere out there to somewhere in here.
Mm-hmm.
And my sobriety, my spirituality, which I believe are completely intertwined.
Oh yeah.
Totally. It's the whole thing. I can't say when people say, oh, the spiritual part of the program. The whole thing is spiritual. It's all spiritual.
Not religious, people.
I realize
It's
this, but
spiritual.
there's nothing wrong with being a spiritual person.
No.
The wisest people that
Yes.
we think wisdom is a good virtue. Like we all kind of hail the wise people.
Yes,
Like
we do.
they're spiritual. So if you want to be one of those people, like, and I feel like a lot of you listening here and watching
Mhm.
probably or else you probably wouldn't have found us.
Or you're working towards that, because that's the other thing. It's like I think of myself, and it doesn't mean you have to be some holier than thou. You're doing all the things
No,
right and you're at church every Sunday, because I was a
no,
real piece of shit and getting drunk all the time, and I was still pretty spiritual. It has
yes,
nothing to do with that, right? It's another layer of ourselves, our souls and our spirits, the things that make us us. It's not necessarily that you have to do it in the walls of a church or some kind of religious
not at
aspect.
all. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I go to church. So Judy and I have talked about this for community, for
Yes.
connection, like that. But I don't think God is at church. God is everywhere. My
Right.
high power of my spirituality is actually in me, right?
Mhm.
A big G, little G. So at that moment in that meditation time, it was like that, whatever that thing is,
So cool.
went inside of me and just changed. It really started giving me some self-worth and self-love. And
Mhm.
to me, that's what my meditation almost every single time boils down to.
And it
Reminding
took time
myself,
though, right, Amanda? I mean, that's what you're saying. It took time. It's almost like the same way if you're like, "Hey, I want to have a six pack." Like, you're not going to go to the gym tomorrow and leave tomorrow and go, "Oh, check it out. I have this badass six pack." Not going to happen like that. Like, practice.
exactly. So there's just so many benefits to it. And I may have said the prayer before on this, but I just want to quick, we're already at like 37 minutes. I don't want to take too long, but I just want
Please
to
do, because it's
tap
amazing. I love it.
I want to tap into like if you guys are looking, I'm actually gonna start I was told by my spiritual teacher that I'm supposed to start doing guided meditations.
Awesome.
So I'm probably going to do that. And I'm probably going to send those to my email subscribers. So if you are not on my email list and you would like to be, just go to my website. I'll put the link in the description, but amandamccoyflanagan.com, and you can get those. I don't know when I'm going to start. I have a lot on my plate. But anyway, you could listen to this and do this if you would, and make it your own. Don't do it
Mhm.
exactly how I'm doing it, right? This is just kind of a guide. So I basically sit down. I have my feet like firmly planted on the floor, and I say my prayer. And it's God, Spirit, angels, archangels, master guides, higher self. Please come into my heart, my mind, my body, my soul, and my spirit, and possess me in a way which is indeed miraculous. Please do for me today that which I cannot do for myself. Show me what you need me to hear, see, feel, know, and do, or not do, say, or not say, on my journey toward becoming the highest version of myself, which is love, and for the highest good of the world and the people around me. So that's kind of what I say
Love
to
it.
open myself up, humble myself, whatever you want to call it. So now my feet are on the floor. I picture tree roots coming from the bottom of my feet. I actually have, specifically, I have like one in the front and my toes, one in my heel, and they come together on each
Nice.
foot. And then those come together and it's stronger. And then it goes down into the earth. And I connect to
Cool.
Mother Earth, Gaia, whatever you want to call that energy. That's what I connect to. And then I take all of the energy that's not mine, all the negative or all the energy of other people that are attached to me, and I let it go and I release it down through the bottom of my feet into the earth, and I give it to Mother Earth. Okay. Then I ask Michael, the archangel, this is kind of a new thing I've been doing, it's called cord cutting, to come in and cut any energetic cords that are connected to me. And I don't need to know who those people are. They're people that are living.
Yeah.
So what you might know some that are kind of attached and, need to try to get your energy for whatever reason. I picture Michael, the archangel, he's the protector, coming in with his big, beautiful sword. It's like shiny.
Badass like that.
Yeah. And it's shiny, it's beautiful. And he just slices
Severs
the
it.
cord. Yep. And then Archangel Raphael is the one who comes in. And I don't know too much about him, but he's the one that I'm told seals the edges of the cord so people cannot then reattach to you. Okay.
Mhm.
So now my energy is pretty clean. And then I open my crown chakra. I picture a lotus flower. I used to not. That's kind of new. Some people have a crown of flowers or
Mhm.
whatever. So this lotus kind of opens up, and I connect to what's called the crystalline grid. So the
Mhm.
crystalline grid is this really super, super high frequency energy that's supposed to be at the outer edge of the electromagnetic field of the earth. And it's where all high frequency energy spirit reside. So I pull in that energy in this beam of light through that lotus flower, and it comes in, and I fill myself with this beautiful light, and that just relaxes me. Oh, and I'm breathing, by the way. I'm doing my vagus nerve breathing. I'm not too focused on the breathing. Maybe before I start this whole process, I'll do 3 big breaths like that,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just kind of breathe naturally. There's all different breathing techniques. Some people breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for
Mm-hmm.
2, out for 6.
Breath work in general alone, even 10 minutes of breath work a day, which, by the way, anywhere on YouTube, guided meditations, exactly what you're talking about, Amanda. You guys, if you have 10 minutes even to do that breath work, guided breath work, it's crazy
Yes.
impactful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're
It's
talking
huge.
about, so you're focusing on your breathing during all of that.
Yeah, so I'm kind of focusing my breathing through all that, and I'm filling up this. Then there's this new energy I learned about. It's called 10, which I think is so interesting because
That's ironic.
you know what 10 is. If any of you
Yeah.
listeners are Pearl Jam fans, 10
Yes.
is the name of the first Pearl Jam album. And
Worked out good.
I had crazy old spiritual experience back in 2018 around the Pearl Jam concert. So like, it doesn't surprise me. It really has
No,
nothing. It has nothing to do with the number. It's a Japanese sign, and it means heaven.
I have never heard of this, by the way. And I
This
listen
is
to a lot of stuff. So
I think you're
definitely.
gonna start hearing about 10 energy. I think
Mhm.
it's something that's like kind of newer. So my teacher, she said she was stuck during COVID with all this very heavy energy, and she was asking her
Mhm.
guides and her son, who she channeled, that's who channels, she channels
Oh,
him.
wow.
And yeah, it's wild. And they told her, take it higher, take your energy higher than the
Mhm.
crystalline grid. So this energy is higher frequency than the crystalline grid.
It's pretty high.
It's pretty high.
It's pretty high.
Yeah. And then so you pull in the 10 energy with the crystalline grid energy, and you just lit up now. You're just like this other kind of like being. Like you're obviously still you, but like now you're filled with this spirit, with this really
Mhm.
beautiful high frequency energy. Then I clear the chakras, right? That could take a whole other thing. But the chakra clearing, you have your root, then you
Never
have
done that, and I need to because I'm fascinated with how it all shakes down. It's because there's how many? Is there 7? No, how many are there?
there's 7.
7.
She uses 8. She uses ones in the ears.
Oh, wow.
Like but there actually are 12. So there's 7
Whoa.
in the body, and then 8, and then 4 more outside. So there's an earth
Oh,
chakra, there's an earth chakra below you, and there's a purpose chakra up here. And then I'm not
right.
sure what you are. Um, but that's basically just intention. Just intention is what you use to clear chakras.
Wow.
You just move up from the root, and so they all have their individual purpose. And for the sake for time reasons, I'm not going to go into that. But so you have your root, and then you have your sacral, your solar plexus, your heart, your throat, your third eye, your crown, and then your ears. So you basically all different colors, and you basically like get them moving. Like I picture mine as like sluggish, like when
Mhm.
my energy's stuck, and I
Blocked
just
almost.
blocked completely. And then I just kind of move each one, and the words are like spinning freely, shining brightly, cleansed and cleared. And then you
Nice.
kind of just walk through each one. Yeah, it's cool, and it works. I feel a difference when I do that. And then and then I just say like, okay, what do you need me to know? What do you need me to do?
Mhm.
Sometimes I think, fix my ears, fix my eyes.
Mhm.
Help me to see and hear things more clearly.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, drop that intuitive thought into my head of how I'm supposed to shift my perception on something maybe that's bothering me,
Mhm.
or if I have nothing bothering me, which is quite rare,
That
that I
any
will,
of us.
it'll just be, like call this person, check in
Mhm.
on so and so, right? Like usually I'm directed to be of service. Um,
Which makes sense. I mean, any of the times, well, again, when we feel okay and anchored, I think we have it in us to be able to be a lot more loving and supportive of other people when we feel like we're anchored. That's a pretty that happens. It's one of those things that
totally.
definitely happens. And I think even and you guys could dig into so much. There's so much on it
Yeah.
in terms
Yeah.
of studies that have been done. But just if you look into how affected our decision making is and our focus when we are in fight or flight, you'll be stunned. So just the fact of alone of finding that practice that's going to help you to even just your day to day, whether it's at work, whether it's with your family, whether it's with your spouse or your children, on being able to come from a different place that's more anchored and neutralized. Because we will say and do shit. We all know this. None of us, when we're in a scared place, none of us is functioning on all cylinders. We're just not
We
because
can't
we're
think of anybody else. We're just thinking
mm-mm.
about ourselves.
Right. Exactly.
We have to.
So being able to find some type of meditation, and again, is like Amanda's practice. This is, and I'm listening to her, right? And I'm learning things. You will find so many different sources to this. And for some people, it's funny because I think back to my grandmother, right? My grandma Isaria and Crucita, both of them Catholic, right? Super, very, very Catholic, just Hispanic Catholic. But I remember learning and thinking about the rosary, right? Praying the rosary. They prayed it for everything. They're like, we're going on a
Never.
trip, we're praying the rosary. We're doing this, we're
Oh,
praying everything was praying the rosary.
yeah.
But in looking back at that, that was a form of meditation. It's the same
Yes.
way that Buddhists use, the prayer beads. You're in
Yep.
repetition. You're getting yourself out of that thought process of, oh, let me think about everything. Let me just find a repetition where I can slow the thoughts down. So even ways like that,
Yeah.
if you grew up Catholic and you pray the rosary, guess what? That's meditation. If you're
Yeah.
somebody who you're walking, like I know we were talking about even being in nature,
Mhm.
listening to the sounds around you, that's meditation. If you're someone who's just so caught up in everything, if you're like, there's no way that I could find some time, find some of these guided meditations on YouTube. There's a lot of
Yeah.
great people.
Yeah.
I know, Amanda, you were talking about another one but I know we're like, we could probably go on for hours about this, but you were also
Yeah.
talking about, was it like the inner child meditation?
So I have to get to a place where I'm like feeling good about myself, right? But
Mhm.
if I'm able to give anything away. So, you know, and really what we're doing, what we were talking about with the rosary, if we go back 2 seconds and all the different mantras up, we're getting into the flow.
Mhm.
Imagine yourself kind of like here
Yep.
and every kind of things, this energy, this like beautiful energy, whatever is going, we're jumping in or we're jumping into the wave, right?
Yeah.
We're jumping into whatever and we're letting it take us. That's the
Yeah.
flow, right? That's what
Yep.
we're trying to do here is get
Mhm.
out of our like human stuck anxiety and fear and all that and jump into this loving, peaceful, compassionate flow. And then that's when we are directed to be of service and to be loving. But we have to love ourselves first. So I get to that place often with an inner child meditation that I learned in one of the 12-step programs I go to. And we all have inner child work to do.
Everybody.
Even if you think you had a great childhood, you may have had a wonderful childhood. There's still stuff. If you're our age,
Yeah.
especially, or older, or even maybe 5, 10 years younger, maybe, the way the parenting was back then, that was completely normal of the time of the day, hitting your kids,
And in some
do
cultures, culturally, it's still very, very,
um,
very normal.
it's traumatic.
That Mhm.
It's just traumatic. And any way you slice it, kids are not supposed to be treated in a lot of the ways that were very acceptable back in the day. And it's just for a lack of not knowing the effects. Now we know the effects, right? We have evidence, we have proof that some of the ways of parenting was not the best, and
Well,
we're
they were
doing the
trying to everybody, I think every generation, right, tries to do better than the one before, and the biggest thing is,
kids
like,
will do better than us.
trying to
Yes.
keep us alive. I think in a lot of cases, it was like, I remember getting my butt spanked if it was running towards the street, or you were running towards the car, or, like, some of those things that in our parents' mind, it was just like, "I gotta instantly make sure that you understand that this could be bad, so I'm gonna
Yes.
make sure you've got that."
And
Ugh.
you remember
Oh,
and you don't
yeah,
forget.
but with
So
a
you
lot of baggage, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So, an inner child meditation that I do that works very well is so I basically become my own, what's called loving parent. I base for lack of whatever. I actually think it's just my higher power. I
That
believe,
makes
but the
sense.
visual is, yeah, the visual is me
Mhm.
as an adult, and I'm walking down the beach holding little Amanda's hand, and we're just walking, and we're walking down the beach, and we come upon the people who hurt us.
Mm.
Um, or whether that's a teacher or a coach or a parent or somebody who abused you in some way, whether that's
Right.
physically or sexually or whatever, any a parent, anybody, a sibling
Mhm.
that bullied you, whatever it is, kid at school that bullied you, whatever it is. You see those people and you just do an about face. You don't address them, you nothing. You just turn around and you as the adult is holding your little person, your little person's hand, your little you, and you're walking away and you're telling your little you, you're okay. I have you. I got
Right.
you. You're safe. You're protected. You are loved. All of this stuff. And it works like every time. And I usually
Yeah.
cry every time. I don't
It
do
was
it that often.
yeah.
And
That's
then,
I can
and
see that being emotional.
it's very emotional. And then after, I mean, the first time I did it was very, very emotional, first few
Mhm.
times. And then I take little Amanda and I put her on my lap and I hug her. And and sometimes I hug myself. Sometimes I literally
Mhm.
hug, like I do whatever I got to do. Like in that
Yeah.
prayer, when we use the word possess me in a way, that
Mhm.
might sound a little like crazy, but like I get very desperate sometimes where like I need to
Mhm.
take it to this other level because I don't know what it is in me. I guess I'm very resistant or I'm hard headed or what it is, but I need like extra strength. I need like
Mhm.
extra strength meditation, extra strength, like everything. Everything. I always needed extra strength, everything. Like I need like my sleeping pills that I take are like have like 97 different everything. Like it's like valerian and melatonin and tryptophan and blah 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 blah.
Oh,
Like all
it's
natural.
fun. I love me some valerian root. I take off and
Valerian,
I go see other people when I'm on valerian. I
valerian
swear.
work.
I go
Yes.
astral. I swear I go astral traveling. I go hang out with people that are in other places, like other countries. Every time I'm on valerian route, I'm like, I don't know if I told you this. Have I told you this? I have. I'm sure I talked about it on the
No,
show. What? Are you serious?
no,
Okay.
no, I don't
So this is
remember.
not like off, sorry to segue, but valerian
Go
root,
ahead.
because I have sleep issues like crazy too, right? A bunch of us. We're freaking wrecks. We're beautiful wrecks, but we're
We're
wrecks.
beautiful, right?
Yeah, Rex. Valerian root, I swear to you. So there is a Middle East, there's like an East Indian family. It's the same family. It's a male, a female, and two daughters. And
That you go
every
see
time, oh yeah, I go
that
hang out with them. Yeah. And it is, they teach me cool shit. Sometimes they're teaching me dances, like what seem to be native,
I
cool
love it.
native dances.
I love
Other
it.
times, I'm telling you, they're always so welcoming. They're all, "Hey, I'm all, hey, what's up?" Like, and it's only on valerian root. There's another time
Same.
the daughters were teaching me how to fly in a meadow. They're like, "Come
So
on." And I'm
cool.
all, "Hey, what's up, girls? Haven't seen you in a while." They're always inviting me in for like these feasts and festivities. And it's
Oh,
always in these like, it reminds me, and I've never been to India. I don't know. I've never been there. It's what I
I
imagine it to be.
remember.
Old
Yes.
stone pathways and buildings.
Mhm.
And there are times, like, if I know I'm not gonna be able to sleep and I'm like, "Man, I need to go see my homies. I'm gonna take some valerian."
Now,
Insane.
does this happen before you fall asleep in that, like, weird conscious, unconscious
Always asleep
or when
in
you sleep
dreams. And I
dream?
never know I'm dreaming. Like, I'm not somebody who knows, which is another thing I've learned a lot about, because Steele, my son, is very good at, well, I always told him, I'm like, nightmares are, and that he would have these nightmares really vivid. I dream very vividly, but he would
Me
have
too.
nightmares. And I would tell him, I was like, "Oh, cool, buddy, you had a nightmare." And he'd say, "Cool." He's like, "This was terrible." And I would tell him, "No, because it's like the ultimate opportunity to practice being brave. You get to
Yes.
practice being brave in nightmares. Like, you get, if it's a monster, you could be like, oh, if you know you're dreaming." They talk about how you can work through so many
Love that.
subconscious issues that way, but I never know I'm dreaming. I never know. He knows. He'll tell himself, "Oh, I'm just dreaming. I'm gonna go take that dragon and slay him, or I'm gonna go throw him off the cliff." I never know. But yeah, I never know with these people. It's the same
That's
four people.
that's so
Crazy stuff.
cool. Think about that. I'm gonna think on that for you.
Yeah.
Meditate on that. So,
Please do.
we didn't talk a lot about, and I wanted to tap in quickly before because we're coming to the end a little bit here, but
Yes.
I wanted to tap into the main reason why I meditate and a lot of people meditate is to get into this kind of state of oneness, this higher consciousness that we are all one. That's the flow. That's the flow I was talking about. So it takes me from like just me being this separate entity that's like trying to live this life and like get through like
Mhm.
tough things or whatever. And it puts me in connection with the entire planet, with every living thing, not just
Mhm.
people, with animals, with trees, with the ocean. And I
Anything that
become,
has energy. Anything that has
oh,
energy, which is all living
yes,
things.
and it's all the same. It's just source energy. It's all
Mhm.
coming from one source energy. It's just, broken off in different ways um, to make the world go around. So we wanted to make sure to say that because that's the whole connection piece of soul rising, all in on love, loss, and connection. So
Mhm.
meditation is the way that you could step into that feeling of connection, belonging, right? Being a part of something greater, which then also alleviates my stress, my
Mhm.
anxiety,
Yeah,
because I feel right. I feel safe in that knowing
absolutely.
that I'm not alone and that I'm part of a bigger picture and that I have a purpose. My
Yeah.
purpose very often uh, shown to me when I am meditating of what I'm supposed to do or the next step. Or I get a lot of inspiration for like posts or blogs
Mhm.
or ideas, things that I need to say when I'm meditating. So the way to tap into feeling connected to everything around you is something called meta meditation. And I want to make sure that I drop this here so that you guys could practice this too. So you have the one that I did before with the chakras and all that, opening up the crown chakra, and you have the inner child. Um, and then this one is called meta meditation. So meta meditation, the words are, so you're going to do the whole thing. You're going to clear your chakras. You're going to get in this space. And then you're going, and it emanates from your heart chakra. This is where the meta happens, right? It's giving love and compassion to yourself and then to everybody else. So the words are, and there's different versions of this, but the one that I learned and that I use is, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I know freedom, and may I walk the world with ease. I say that a couple of times, and I'm picturing this as I'm doing that. I'm visualizing this energy coming in, heart going out to the world. It's like a circle. I call it the ring of love. So it's coming in and then it's going out. And then I start wishing that, praying that, if you will, for other people.
Mhm.
And I break it down kind of category by category. Like the first group of people is my loved ones, people that I love, my friends, my family, my animals, whatever. Then it's just acquaintances, people that, the mom you might see at school pickup or the beggar at the grocery store or, some, not a real colleague, but somebody that you talk to and whatever. Um, and then perfect strangers, just random people that you don't know,
Yeah.
you've never, that are just out there. And then you send this wish to your perceived adversaries, is what I call them, or your
It's
enemy.
right. That's like we learned that in the program too.
However, yeah, it's so
Pray
cool.
for the people when you have like pray for that
Yeah,
person. Similar deal. Wishing the
yeah,
same for those that you feel are like, ugh.
yeah. The people
And
that
that's
are
what it does.
threatening you, that are a threat to you in some way, to your
Mhm.
emotional security or to your physical stuff. That something's gonna be taken away, whatever. So you just change the words from I, change the word from I to they. May they be happy. May
Mhm.
they be healthy. May they know freedom. And may they walk the world with ease. Right? As I'm
A
still
prayer.
doing, yeah, it's a prayer. As I'm doing this, I'm still taking the love in, giving it out.
Mhm.
Taking it in from this higher source. I'm getting kind of beamed up with this loving energy. I'm feeling very open. I'm opening my heart. I actually I don't do this that often anymore, but I was when I started doing this and I was really jammed up. It was during COVID. It was 2020 when like this kind of all came together for me. And I would picture like I called the rusty gates of my heart. So I would have the shut. I'm shut. I'm closed off, and then like it would open like a little bit, a little bit, a
Uh-huh.
little bit. Finally, it'd be like wide open, and I would just be able to give it out, bring it back in, give it back out, bring it back in. Um, and that to me is a really helpful way for me to feel connected to something greater, which is also everybody else. It's all one. It's all one and the same. There is really no separation at all. And I think that's a really good thing to focus on, because it's for your own health and well-being, all of this, what we're talking about. But ultimately,
Very well.
healing our energy can help heal the planet. So if
Mhm.
you don't want to do this just for you, because maybe you feel like it's hokey or you just don't have time or it's not going to work or you're afraid of what you might feel, try to hold the intention of I'm doing this for the planet. I'm doing this for
Yeah,
the
healing outside of the world. Because I don't care who you are, I guarantee you, you can have a you're in the front row seat right now of watching the pain and struggle of the world in one way or another, like, hands down. So that's true.
yeah,
Good point.
we're at a crossroads. Like,
Mhm.
people say, "Oh, it's always been this way. Every generation has their stuff." I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
No, because it's never been this way in the sense that you might have had all these isolated instances of pain happening, but we weren't all aware of each other's and our own at the same time simultaneously. We're now, I know my pain, I know yours, I know theirs, I know theirs, I know theirs in that war zone over there, I know theirs, I know theirs. Like, we don't just have, it's not just our own anymore. We're processing and witnessing everybody's. And that's a lot,
Mhm.
is a lot.
Because technology, because we have access to. Ev
Exactly. That was one other thing too. I had just thought of this when they had asked because Howard Stern is a big meditator too on TM.
Oh,
But
cool.
yeah, there's so many people. But Jerry Seinfeld had explained it, which just is very simple. He said, I felt like, and he's a very um straightforward kind of a dude. And it
Uh-huh.
is thinking, right? It's a pretty black and white. And he's somebody who talked about how for him, he realized with meditation, it was like having the cell phone and you have this cell phone, and meditation for him was like, oh, discovering the charger. Plugging the charger in, that meditation for him became this, he was able to be fully charged at any point with this 20 minutes per day, twice a
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
TM, no matter what level of
yeah.
workload he had, no matter what stresses he was under, he knew where to find the charger. So meditation can be like that charger for you. It's
Yeah,
just like to get yourself back up to speed, regardless of energy levels, like regardless of what's going on in the world around us, in your home, in your environment, in your job, whatever it may be, that you can find a way to recharge and connect
yeah,
and connect.
100. And the more you do it, the more you want to do it, because
Oh,
the
yeah.
more you do it, you start to get filled up with this loving goodness, and your self-worth, your self-love starts to grow. And
Mhm,
then you want to do it because it makes you feel so good. And then you go out in the world and you could do amazing things, right?
mhm.
Like we are programming the universe what to give back to us,
All the
right? So
time.
like my days when I meditate are so much better. Good things happen, whether
Yeah.
from my own doing or seem to be magic, a new opportunity, or I'm nicer to my kids. I'm
Oh,
nicer to
yeah.
my husband. I'm not, resentful that I have to cook dinner again. Like, I want to fold their laundry. Like, I want to be a nice, loving, good person. But when I don't, I'm caught up in self. It's really a matter of just moving outside of self,
Yeah.
moving
And
from the ego.
energizing and being able to have, you talk about that bucket. We have that bucket is something taken away from your bucket or filling your bucket. And it is a
Yeah.
practice that you can
Yep.
for sure be in charge of filling your own bucket at least for a few minutes a day. It makes it a lot easier and a lot more accessible. It's not, you don't have to be some big spiritual, again, we talk about that. It's a lot of misconceptions. People think, oh, I gotta be up on the hill, like crossing my legs, and I have to, it's not that. It's
No, it's
literally
not.
just being able to find a way to slow down
Mhm.
the the noise up here.
Yeah. And tap into something greater than you, because that energy up there, that's not frenetic. It's not chaotic. It's
Mm-mm.
not, that's our human energy. That's
Yeah.
what we're doing to ourselves on earth for
Hmm.
multitude of reasons. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and like it's, one of those myths are like, oh, can take a really long time to get good at it. You don't
Hmm.
get, it's not getting good at it. Good isn't really the
Surrendering, right?
word. It's surrendering. Yes. And just tapping in, and it's experiencing, and then as you keep doing that, like anything else, you tap in and you surrender more quickly each time you do it. You don't have to
Yep.
sit there for 2 minutes before you feel something. You sit there for 3 minutes,
Mhm.
5, whatever it is, and then you'll just notice how the dots become connected.
Mhm.
Like very often when I'm meditating on something, or I'll even know before I even start meditating, like I'll just kind of open myself up to like some, thought or whatever that's not my own. And then like I'll meditate and some message will come I usually attach to that thought, and then I'll pull like an oracle card or something after. That's usually how I finish up. And maybe I'll do that on the meditations as well. And it's usually connected. It's usually, I'd say, 7, 8 out of
Uh-huh.
10 times. It is what I was thinking about or meditating on, what was coming to
Mhm.
me. Then I pull this card, and constantly, I'm like, oh, I just can't even. I
Yeah,
love
because
it.
it's so connected. Yeah, you're
It
just
is.
being open, right? It's like you're being open to that. And for some people, again, you might, as much as we talk about it, um, that might be prayer for someone else who looks, and again, this isn't like, oh, we're talking about witchcraft. It's not even that. It's like, it's literally, if you find that through prayer, like even the mantra that Amanda was talking about earlier, that sounds like a prayer, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like anytime that you are able to just quiet our ego, really, right? Our fear, our loud, chaotic mind, you're going to be tapping into that. And that is a form of meditation. Prayer is a form of meditation too. So if that is something for you that you look at it and go, well, I can't because I'm Christian. Guess what? Prayer is a form of meditation too. So you're
Yeah.
still relying on, you're surrendering to, you're tapping into something outside of the chaotic,
Yeah.
the world, the 3D world we're living in.
Yeah, and, do it with your family, do it with
Yeah.
your kids,
Mhm.
my husband meditates with my kids all the time, and it's great, and I really that study, you guys gotta go watch that link that David Lynch
Please
found,
do.
because it's just amazing, the results.
Yeah.
Just gotta be open to it, and you really just you gotta believe it. You get like anything else, you
Mhm.
gotta believe it in order for it to resonate and be true to you. I meditate when I run. If you're a
Uh-huh.
runner, if you exercise, if you're pumping, lifting weights, whatever you do, dance, Zumba, whatever you do,
Mhm.
and it's jumping into that flow. It's
Okay.
jumping into their energy, and if you could do that when your endorphins are high, I also get a lot of inspiration
Oh, yeah.
uh, when I'm running, because the chemicals that are being released, they're
Yeah.
probably
And
some
there's
acetyl.
proof too that's 100% we are absolutely more creative, through meditation too. So it calms anxiety, it can help with sleep, it helps you be more creative, it helps you not be as reactive. I mean, there's
Uh-huh.
just all the way across the board, you're gonna be coming from a place where you're making decisions that you almost have that lapse in time, where sometimes we're
Yeah.
knee jerk
Yeah.
on certain things.
Mhm.
And that practice of meditation, of giving it, they've also talked about how rest wise, if you can do 20 minutes of meditation, what it does for your nervous system, it's better than 3 hours of sleep. And
That's
and yeah,
amazing.
you can look out there and find that that was so crazy. Did you see
Where
that?
did we do that? That thumbs up? Did you
You
do
see
that?
that?
Yeah. Did you do that?
I don't know.
That popped up in a recording, I think, with Melissa from 2 weeks ago, and I
I
thought
have,
that was part of her, like, program or whatever she uses, part of
I
her
have
computer,
no
but
idea. That just
must
popped
be
up.
part of the Squadcast. We use Squadcast to record it. Must be part of that for the
That's
guest.
funny.
I'm the host, and you're technically the guest on the way that we have it set up here,
Yes,
but oh, that's so fun.
that was cool.
That was great. Thank you, Squadcast. Yeah, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, last thing I just want to say about it is, like, you're getting divine guidance. You're getting guidance from something that's not you and your human emotion,
Mhm,
that's typically based in fear or anxiety or
mhm.
something else. You're kind of clearing it all out for something else to come and guide you and show you. I, I always have the song, "Show me the way, show me the way." I don't know who that is. Survivor, maybe. I don't know, but
Yeah, I remember that song.
yeah, that,
What
like,
was that
pops in my
song?
head quite
Na na
often.
na 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 na, yesterday. I forgot what it was. Was it like a part of something or just on the radio? Because I
Probably
remember it.
probably in a movie, who knows? I don't know, or a commercial or something, but yeah,
I
that
do remember that.
so
I
yeah, those things
I
will start happening for you once you start meditating, like, things, and it'll become, like, repetitious, and then you'll kinda know when it's time to, like, bump it up and maybe add something else, add, like, another element in, and you go research. I mean, the Google machine is going to help you a lot, so just
and yeah, again, and you if all of this sounds like so much to you, just understand that there's immediate right now today, very simple guided meditations that are 10 minutes long. And I mean, you don't even have to think about it. You don't even, if you're intimidated by the thought, and that's kind of why we wanted to do this show, right? We didn't want it to feel like we wanted everyone to realize this is accessible to you today. You know,
Yes. It's
even if
free.
you don't know where to start, like you can start on YouTube, and I promise you there are guided meditations, and you gotta dig around a little, right? There's gonna be some that work better for others. There's gonna be some
Find
that
what
work better for
resonates.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, you have something going on that you know you're having an issue with acceptance
Mhm,
or with your patience or with trusting or
mhm.
whatever. Just put that into the search engine and something will pop up. Insight Timer is also a great app that you could
Right.
use.
Mhm.
Probably gonna get some meditations up there at some point, but yeah, and then also don't forget sign up on my website, and I send one newsletter a month. It's not like overwhelming, and you'll also get the free guide, 5 principles to be all in, which is the I don't know if people here don't know my book. It's called Trust Yourself to Be All In,
You
but
can get it on Amazon. There's so many places you can get it. It's an amazing book. Go, you definitely should check it out, especially if you're somebody who's trying to figure out how to show up for yourself, not just in the relationships with everybody else, but to be in with yourself. Because a lot of times we don't even realize that we're not.
yeah,
So go
and
pick up the book.
thank you. And a lot of what I talked about today is in that book. So if you want, like on paper, so that you could reference it's in there. So anyway, all right, Ginny, you got anything else? Any last parting word?
Man, just that we're so grateful to you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for continuing to come back. And thank you for joining us and for continuing to grow. As we continue to evolve, we know you're doing the same thing and none of us does it alone. So thank you guys so much for being here with us. We appreciate it immensely.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Have a great one, and we'll see you later.
Mwah. Peace out.